We turn now to trying to solve the most famous kidnapping since the Lindbergh baby. In 1964, a newborn named Paul Franczak was snatched from a hospital in Chicago by a woman posing as a nurse. Police pursued hundreds of leads until over a year later, a little boy was found abandoned in a busy shopping area 800 miles away in Newark, New Jersey. The Franczaks had their baby back, or did they? Almost 50 years later, Paul took a DNA test to discover he really wasn't Paul Franczak at all. So who was he, and what happened to the real Paul snatched from his mother's arms a half-century ago? ABC's chief investigative reporter Brian Ross with the next shocking part of this story.
Do you know who stole this baby?
Yes.
Who stole the baby?
My mother.
His name is Johnny Harbaugh, and what he told us about his mother may seem far-fetched, but it most definitely is not. His mother's name was Linda Taylor, a notorious figure in Chicago in the 1970s and 80s, dubbed America's welfare queen and vilified by President Ronald Reagan.
Her name is Linda Taylor. The Illinois Legislative Advisory Committee on Public Assistance investigated, came up with 82 charges of welfare fraud, perjury, and bigamy.
We began to look for her after our 2020 tip line provided this clue. The baby was stolen by a lady known as the Welfare Queen. Linda Taylor died 12 years ago, but we found her son living in a Chicago suburb. Harbaugh said he was a teenager living in this house in Chicago when he came home to discover a new baby.
Was your mother capable of stealing a baby?
My mother was capable of anything. Not only stealing a baby, but she could steal you.
Harbaugh said his mother was a master of disguise, could pass as white or black, Puerto Rican or Hawaiian, in her schemes to collect fraudulent welfare payments, sometimes posing as a doctor or a nurse.
She had a room with nothing but wigs and nurse dresses and shoes.
At the time that Paul Franczak was stolen from the Michael Reese Hospital, the police put out a sketch.
Yes.
Do you think that's your mother?
Except for the nose, but she could do anything with her face or her hair.
In the 1970s, when Linda Taylor was put on trial for welfare fraud,
Miss Taylor, can we talk to you for a moment?
she actually came under investigation for stealing the Franczak baby. From one newspaper account, one of her ex-husbands told agents that Miss Taylor appeared one day in the mid-1960s with a newborn baby, although she had not been pregnant.
So fascinating. And I know Barbara Walters spent a lot of time covering this case as well. Such a mystery.
And the story's not over. Tune into 2020 Saturday night at 10, 9 Central right here on ABC for much, much more on this fascinating story.